coordinator for the Faculty of Science and Horticulture. And the Faculty of Science and Horticulture actually is where the Brewing Diploma program is housed. And I'm going to pass it over to Alec, who's the chair of our program, while I load up a screen.
Okay, thank you, Deanne. So hello, everyone. My name is Alec Egi. I'm currently the chair of the brewing program, also brewing manager, and also faculty. I teach, different courses in the first and the second year of the program. So as soon as we have the presentation loaded, we will go through the presentation, and then, as it was mentioned before, we'll have the Q&A session at the end.
Can everybody see the screen there, the welcome screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dan. So this is the agenda of the presentation. So we'll going to look at the overview of our brewing program, and then we'll have some of the other content. We'll talk about the program, the faculty, some information about the curriculum, and also some admission requirements for the program. So generally speaking, our program has three major components. First of all, we put a lot of emphasis on science. Brewing is actually, a biotechnology, if you will. So we have a lot of science courses, anything from brewing chemistry to brewing microbiology. There's some engineering components as well. But we also put a lot of emphasis on hands-on learning. As you saw in that video, we do have a small production brewery. So our students spend a lot of time in the brewery and learning the particular skills of the entire brewing process. There's also a business component because, as you can imagine, a lot of our students also hope that maybe one day they can have their own craft breweries. So there are also important business courses as part of the program.
And sorry, there's a little bit of a time lag from between when the slides go. So it's skipping. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So these are some of the, I guess, most important reasons why would students from different parts of the world choose KPU in our program. Also, it's been mentioned in the video that we're actually the only brewing school in Canada that has the international recognition by the Master Brewers Associations of the Americas. And this is the recognitions for excellence in teaching. So our curriculum was developed in collaboration with the industry. We have the advisory committee, and we worked closely with the advisory committee in the initial stages of this program. As you already saw, we do have as mentioned, state-of-the-art teaching brewery, which is on the campus. But again, what I also want to put emphasis on that this is actually, a registered manufacturing facility, which means that we do have our production, we do have beers that go on sales. The program is a 2-year program, Diploma in Brewing, and the instructors that are teaching in the program, have a combined, I guess, industry experience of over 100 years. As far as the content, there's over 981 hours of content, and this, of course, it includes what I already mentioned, a lot of hours in the brewery. So this is your hands-on learning of the brewing process, packaging, and so on. And also, approximately 170 hours of brewing science, mostly in chemistry, microbiology. But we also have, other science courses like, for example, sensory science and so on.
I was just also going to pop in here that it's really important in looking at different brewing programs, the amount of hours of the content. There's quite a bit on the market, but KPU offers a very comprehensive and in-depth program. Yeah.
So the classes are typically between Monday and Thursday, which means that, Friday to Sunday, practically 3 days a week, students can, work part-time in the brewing industry, and of course also spend that time studying, but also relaxing, I would say. There's a lot of opportunities to work between the first and the second year. Pretty much our semester and the exams are done by the third week of April, which means that you have May, June, July, and August, to work in the industry. And we highly encourage students to actually have jobs during the summer. And of course, we're there to help when it comes to looking for a job and finding jobs. Also, our students have free student membership in different industry associations. I already mentioned Masters Brewers Association of the Americas, so you would get a free yearly membership, and that gives you a lot of access to other people in the industry and other resources, scientific journals, and so on. As far as the employment is concerned, the employment rate for our grads is over 90%. So, as I've said, we are the only school in Canada that has the Master Brewers Association of the Americas recognition for excellence in teaching. Of course, this is the professional organization of several different countries in South, Central, and North America. So we're actually the first school in North America that applied for this recognition, and we were one of the first schools to actually got that recognition.
And the only one in Canada with that.
Yeah. So I've already mentioned a few times, we do have a production brewery, and you can see here some of our students working around our fermentation vessels. And what you can see there in the background is our pilot facility. So this is a 4-vessel system, 2 hectoliters or 200 liters in volume. We also have beer sales. So we have a draft station. So we have beer sales in growlers, and since last year we also launched our canning line. So now we have 4 of our core brands that will be typically available almost throughout the year. But we also have some seasonal beers. So we had a lot of successes, before the pandemic. So at the last BC Beer Awards, and this was in 2019, we were actually named the Brewery of the Year in British Columbia. And British Columbia now has, close to, I think, 200 different breweries. So for a small brewery like us to, come at the top, this is, this means a lot to us. So anyway, in 2019, we have won 5 different awards at the competition from 9 samples that we have submitted. So as you can see here, this is the list of our awards. So we won the first place for our North American Amber and Brown Ale, 2 second places for a dark lager. We also won a second place for a specialty beer, and then our German wheat beer has consistently been doing well at the competition, as well as the pale German lager. One of our instructors, Nancy Moore, also got the Legend Award at the competition. Also in 2019, we won the US Open College Beer Championship, and this is the competition only for colleges and universities, in North America so far. So we were ranked #1, or the best teaching brewery in North America. We were named Grand National Champions. So we won 2 gold and a silver medal, and there were only 5 samples that each school could submit. In the past, we also won awards at the BC Beer Awards. As I mentioned, our German wheat beer has been doing consistently well at the BC Beer Awards. And we were very successful at US Open College Beer Championship. So in 2019, we won a silver and the bronze medal. And in 2017, we were actually ranked the second school in North America with 1 gold medal and 1 silver medal at that competition. So our teaching brewery is really state of the art. It's very well equipped, and we have been, every year we actually get a few more pieces of different equipment. We definitely want to stay on top of things as things in the industry are changing. So I'm not going to go through the whole list, but as I already mentioned, we have a 2 hectoliter, really state-of-the-art pilot system, 4-vessel system, but we also have 6 small brewing systems, as well as 12 cylindrical conical fermentation vessels, some bright beer tanks, and so on. Obviously, the quality control is very important in quality assurance. So we also have a very well-equipped brewing laboratory with the most important instruments that you can use in beer analysis. Again, I'm not just going to go through the whole list, but you're also going to spend a lot of time, doing beer analysis.
I was also going to add to that there's a lot of equipment that we have access to, or the students do, that a lot of the small breweries don't. So they actually get hands-on experience with some very sophisticated equipment, as Alec had mentioned.
So this is actually a floor plan of our brewery. So as you can see here, it's about 4,500 square feet, and we have obviously the grain mill and grain room, some packaging area, tap station, and what you can see here is really our main brewing floor, where the small circles in the middle are our fermentation vessels, and then towards the top is the pilot brew house, and then we have our, as I mentioned, small 6 brewing systems. So this is in the area which is sort of blue. So when it comes to careers in the industry, there's definitely lots of different opportunities and different options, and I'm very happy that we have some of our alumni so they can speak more about this. But really, there's many different types of jobs that you can get once you finish the program. So obviously, in order to be a head brewer, like that would probably, if something like this happened, it would probably be a smaller craft brewery. So typically our students, after they graduate, become brewers or assistant brewers. But then again, it really depends on the size of the company. But there's other opportunities in quality control, sensory analysis. This is something that is developing really fast as we speak. But then, of course, there's packaging, there's other brewery operations, sales and marketing, general managers, brew pub operations. So many different options. So every year we actually have a brewing career fair. So this is the last one from 2020, I think, and just 2-3 weeks before the pandemic, I guess. And typically what happens is, breweries are coming to our campus, and then what you can see here is sort of a speed dating scenario where students actually have the opportunity to talk to 3 or 4 different breweries or employers, and to hear about different companies. And one of the most important things that at events like this is a lot of opportunity for networking. When it comes to the program, as I said, we have it's a 2-year program. So we have a fall term and a spring term in each year. And what you can see here is the list of the courses. So we start with in fall term in year 1 with introduction to brewing. There's also a practical brewing course each semester. So the first one is, of course, brewing 1. Then we have brewing chemistry, sensory evaluation, and then introduction to professional communication. And then in the spring semester, brewing microbiology, equipment and technology. Then the second brewing course, practical brewing course, And then, of course, we have also the finishing or filtration and packaging course. And then the business problem solving with spreadsheets, it's one of the business programs. And then in the second year, we have more advanced, beer filtration and packaging course, calculation and recipe formulation, the third practical brewing course, business ethics, and then a course about the brewing industry. And finally, in the fourth term, there's beer marketing and sales, brewing management, product evaluation and judging, and Brewing 4, which is really one of the courses that most students are really excited about. So this is where you're actually showing everything that you've learned in the program by designing and producing your own beer. So these are just some of the examples of the capstone project in Brewing 4. So when I say everything, this is really from developing brewing recipe to acquiring raw materials, all the way to doing beer sales, designing your own labels, and actually selling your beer to the customers. As far as the instructors in the program, I'm just quickly going to mention, I'm currently the chair of the program. My background is mostly in food technology engineering, and specifically, I have a lot of experience in both malting and brewing industry, as well as sensory evaluation and so on. The other brewing instructor is Dominic Bernard. Dominic did his master's in brewing at Heriot-Watt, and he was teaching most of the practical brewing courses. Although we are going to change some of the courses, between the two of us. So pretty much next year, half of the practical brewing courses will be, Dominic will be the main instructors, and the other half, I will be the main instructor. Then we have Martina, who is our lab instructor. She also has her master's but in microbiology, actually. So, she's our main science lab instructor. And Martina has also finished a diploma in brewing to the Institute of Brewing and Distilling. John and Derek are actually our former students, so now they're our lab instructors. And most of the time, they will be, spending actually in the brewery. So 4 practical brewing courses plus the packaging and finishing courses is typically what John and Derek are doing. Nancy Moore is our contract instructor. We're very fortunate to have her. She has a lot of experience, a lot of international experience, has been brewing in many different breweries in North America, Africa, Europe, and so on. So Nancy is currently teaching 3 different courses: microbiology, brewing management, and brewing industry. Stan Wong is teaching the brewing marketing course. That's his background. And he also has a lot of experience. And, he was actually working for Labatt's Brewery in Canada.
And he has a lot of international marketing experience. So he was the first one to launch Nike's sports line out internationally.
Yeah, in hockey, yeah. So, and then also we have Ken Beatty, who is a co-instructor in the brewing industry course. So Ken is actually the executive director of the BC Craft Brewers Guild. As I mentioned, we have a really close ties with, the brewing industry. So anything, from different companies, from raw materials, breweries, companies that are actually producing brewing equipment and so on. And, as I said, we have developed our curriculum working closely with our advisory committee. There's also lots of different awards which are available to our students, and this is on top of the scholarships that any KPU student can apply for. So these scholarships that you see over here are specifically for the brewing program. And when it comes to working in the industry, as I mentioned, the employment rate is over 90%. So this is a list of companies where students are working, and it is constantly changing and getting bigger. So here you can see some of our alumni. So it's not only that the KPU Brewing was very successful in winning different awards. As you can see, our students were equally, if not even more successful, so you can see them, winning different awards. And this is the last BC Beer Awards where, as I've said, KPU was very successful. And, this is KPU plus all our alumni. Okay, so next Deanne is going to talk more about some of the admission requirements.
Yeah, so some of the admission requirements in getting into the brewing program are part of the general requirements to apply to KPU. But in addition to that, in the brewing program, you also need to have either chemistry 11 with a minimum of a grade C plus or equivalent. We also note here, or check 1094. So these are courses that if you didn't have chemistry 11 already in high school, KPU actually offers an upgrading course that you could take to meet that requirement. And Rita and Alessandra will know more about in terms of what the equivalents are for international students who might show up something different. The same as with math. So I'm just going to go back one here. We require, it's called Principles Level E1. So there's a math alternatives table, and that's where we would look at the minimum math requirement that's required. And again, your international advisors would advise you on what your particular transcript would show that would meet that requirement for the brewing program. Our diploma program definitely stresses having that chemistry requirement. And one of the things that we often say to people is that even if you meet that requirement, but you haven't done either chemistry 11 or 12 for many years, we highly recommend you do an upgrading course, or even at the very least, pick up an old chemistry textbook and read through it before the start of class, because when classes start in September, you do hit the ground running, and it is definitely university level chemistry. So it's an intense course that usually we really want students to be prepared for. The other thing is a recommendation by the admission selection committee. So all of the applications that come into the brewing program, we also require a portfolio that we'll talk about in a moment. And there's an admission selection committee as part of the brewing department that reviews those. So it's not just meeting those requirements, it's also knowing that you are a good fit for it. Oftentimes we'll get people who are really interested in the glamorous kind of side of, craft beer or beer tasting or beer festivals. And we like to stress that, it's a hardworking program. There's a lot of physical labor, just like any of the alumni students will tell you. Once you're out in the industry, it's a tough job. So you have to be prepared for that when you're into the program. Here's a little bit more about the admission requirements for math. So you can see below in the high school courses, one of either a pre-calculus 11, a foundations of mathematics, IB mathematics, principles of math 12, etc. So again, this is where your international recruitment advisors would be able to tell you what the equivalent of that is, depending on where you're coming from. And again, we talked about the chemistry review. KPU offers a 4-week brewing chemistry basics in August, right before the semester starts in September. And again, that's just primarily for new brewing students. Anybody can take it, but the idea is to kind of ramp you up to the point where you're feeling comfortable to enter that first semester of brewing chemistry. The portfolio requirement for the brewing program is a bit different in that most of the other programs within the university don't require this. Some of the other ones, like in the School of Design, would. And what the portfolio involves is quite simple and straightforward. It's a cover letter from yourself describing why you want to take the program, why you think you'd be a good fit, what some of your goals are for taking the program. And again, the admissions committee is looking at really what your overall goals are and whether you're an ideal candidate for the program. Your resume. So again, outlining your work experience. We often suggest applicants that they highlight anything where they've had, maybe not brewing experience. If you have that, great. But if you have anything that you can relate to hospitality, even anything in manufacturing, engineering, anything mechanical, that really does come into play too. And there's a number of people who often realize once they're in the program that having some sort of like a mechanical or an engineering mind is really, really helpful, especially when either fixing equipment, cleaning equipment, etc. And I do want to stress that you do not need to have previous brewing experience to apply to this program. We have had people who've come in who've worked in breweries or have home brewing experience, but really it was developed and created so that you could come with zero brewing experience. And by the end of the 2 years, not only know how to brew, but also have the fundamentals, the basics of what it would take to actually run a brewery and the operations and the business side of it. We also ask in the portfolio that you include letters of reference. So there's these 3 things that make up the portfolio: a cover letter, your resume, and any letters of reference. And we would say up to 3. And again, what we're looking for in those letters of reference is where somebody is able to say why you would make a good fit for this particular program. So if you've worked in a brewery, kind of what some of your strengths were in hospitality, same type of thing. Application information. We refer to the brewing program as a limited intake program. And what that means is that we only take intakes of students once a year, and it's always in the fall. So there's only 1 cohort per year that enters, and that cohort stays together for the whole 2 years. Candidates who submit your document right away and you meet all of the admission requirements right away will be typically offered a seat sooner than other candidates who have outstanding items. One of the things we tend to see is people will apply with their transcripts and all of the regular things that are required, but then the portfolio sort of lags behind. So just keep that in mind if you're applying, that you want to be working on getting those portfolio pieces together and submitting those as soon as possible. So applications every year normally open on October 1st, and they'll stay open until the seats are filled. Normally we get more applicants than we have seats. And again, part of that is the committee selection process in terms of who would be a really good fit for this program and that we could see you being successful. We want to choose people who are, we can kind of see that they're going to be success in the program and that they want to have a career in the brewing industry. So Rita or Alessandra, feel free to change this if it's any different for international students. But this is just a screenshot of how you would typically apply to the program. And it's through the BC Education Planner or Education Planner BC. And I apologize, I've got the regular contacts here for recruitment, but of course your international recruitment advisors would be different in terms of reaching out to them with information. So we do have 3 alumni and 1 current student who just graduated from the program or finished the program in the end of April. So I'm just going to look on the participants here. I'll stop sharing my screen so that you guys can see the participants. So hey, Nishant, you're here. So we've got Himanshu Chowdhury, we've got Danilo Chica and Nishant Amin. So Danilo, why don't you unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you are, and why you chose to come to KPU Brewing, why you came to Canada.
Sure. So yeah, nice to meet you guys. I'm Danilo, I'm from Brazil. It was in 2017 that I decided to move abroad, and I was researching places to go. And it was an easy choice to choose BC because BC it's like beautiful as is. And then I researched like which school I would come here to study, and I also decided to change my career. So I was working first with supply chain management in Brazil, and I guess changing my career was like the best choice I made. I'm very happy with the course I chose. And if you're thinking about moving abroad, think that you can use and transfer the skills that you already have, or use your the things you like or your passion as your differential for your new career. So I came here in 2017. I did the 2 years of course. I worked and I studied, worked part-time during my course. It wasn't easy. The course was like really hard on us, but like that's how it should be, I guess. I learned so much in those 2 years, and I could get my degree with a job already. And after that, I kept pursuing a better career. And today I'm working in a like great place, the place I wanted to be before. And I guess my career like is just starting, right? That there's so much more to grow, to keep growing. And definitely the KPU brewing, everything I learned there, it's like the foundation I needed to like to keep improving.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, Alessandro. I think I might have taken over your directing of the Q&A. So if you'd like to take over, please do.
No, actually, it's totally fine. And he answered everything in just one answer, right? So it was great. So it is nice for the student, the prospective students here, and for the agents that they are hearing this info session about what made the students choose Canada, why BC, and it's really nice that Danilo just told them that it wasn't just like move to another country, but it was a change of life, right? Because he was working with a totally different environment in Brazil. And when he came here, he just moved to brewing, and now he's working on that, and he looks very happy. I believe so, right? And that's amazing. So please, yeah, I believe it's great to hear from the students about their experience and everything. So for me, it's totally fine.
Awesome. So I'm going to introduce or let him introduce himself, Himanshu. And sorry, you guys, if I just did a screen share there. No. So
Hello. Yeah.
Go ahead, Himanshu.
Hello, everybody. My name is Himanshu Chaudhary, and I'm from India. So it was year 2017, and I was in my third year of my graduation. I was doing mechanical and automation engineering. So I have same kind of story like Danilo told. So it was same thing. I was kind of attracted to this course, and it was glamorous, beer fest and all. But when I took a look into it, I was like, okay, I can do this, and it's gonna be a big change for me. Not like just a country, but for everything, because in India, it's most of us have like pretty chill life, no work, just studying, and just same kind of field of study. So it was a big move for me. So before coming to here, Canada, I did some certification courses to make my profile more stronger, so that I can have my chances to get into the course as soon as I can get. So I did some online certification courses, and finally I was here in 2018 after completing my graduation from India. So after coming here, I was like, faculty members, instructors were all very supportive, and having no experience in brewing and zero background, I was like, okay, I can do this. Every day it was maybe not, or maybe yes, but everyone was so supportive and giving motivation every time you do one thing. And in the class, they support you. They tell you, you're gonna go to lab, you're gonna do this. Okay, just think about a process and how to do it. So it was that thing. Also, instructors were always very supportive and suggesting to get enrolled in any kind of part-time job in the industry, which I think was very helpful for me, because I learned a lot from there, from school and doing part-time job while in the school. Yeah, so a big move for me. But honestly, the next thing I moved to BC was its weather, like throughout Canada. Everybody knows it's not easy to live in Canada. So if anyone is looking to come to BC, it's the right place. Good weather. You can study. I know it's intense. For some people, it's less intense. For some, it's more. But with good weather, with extracurricular activities, you can get more motivation and keep yourself indulged in the studies and fun things too. So that makes life easy for students who are just coming to like new field like brewing technology and brewing diplomas. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And Himanshu, you ended up being one of our main models and poster on big bus shelters. He had, you know, big pictures and stuff. So he was very sweet and gracious to be included in our photo shoot. And I'm not sure you quite understood you were going to be big life-size posters, but thank you.
Thanks to you.
Practically, Himanshu, you're a celebrity now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I go to brewery every day, like it's in magazines and it's on TV. So you guys know my head brewer, my boss, Cole Smith, who that from. So they always say, man, we saw you last night, we saw you here and there. I'm like, okay.
Very famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, very famous. Thank you.
Do you have any tip for the students that are looking for study brewing? Do you have like, oh yeah, be prepared for this one, or be prepared for like, oh, the hard work? So how do you think that the student can be better succeed in this program?
I would like to say only one thing, because I had no experience in brewing. Before applying to the course, I take a look into the course curriculum. Okay, what's gonna be there? What courses are gonna be there? And I'm from chemistry and mathematics background. I have strong base in both of those course subjects.
That's good.
So I was like, okay, I don't have any other advantages over other students. What should I do? So I take a look on the internet and did some research. So there are so many online certification courses where you can learn basics of brewing operations, brewing technology. Even you can learn like advanced brewing processes and all. But to gain some advantage and to have a better profile, strong profile for the course, I would suggest students to take a look into the online certification courses. I know like some people would say it's just a small course, but it makes a difference.
That's good.
That's the thing.
Thank you so much for that.
And we also have Nishant, who is just finished the brewing program. And we actually showed a slide with one of his beers, his signature beers that he created. That was delicious, by the way. Well done. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Nishant, and why you chose the KPU program? And then we might ask you a few questions. I can see there's a few in the chat too.
Sounds good. Hey guys, so I'm Nishant and I'm from India, just like Himanshu is. And this is my third career change. My background is in science and engineering. I always wanted to kind of get a brewery started, but every now and then there were always some obstacles coming around. And I did try and go to Edinburgh, just where Dominic also went for his education, but I did get into it, but one thing led to another and I couldn't get to it. And then I said, enough is enough. I'm done doing what I'm doing. I quit my business and I'm like, all right, I got to do what I really love doing, drinking and making beer. So I was looking around everywhere on the websites and, universities and everything. I came across KPU, and being 42, I was a little speculative whether I should do it and I shouldn't do it because I'm married as well. So I kind of came here with like, all right, I'm here. I got to do it. I got to give it everything. And then as soon as the first semester started, I'm like, this is awesome. All my speculations, all my reservations were thrown out, and it was amazing. It's been an amazing 2 years despite the COVID aspect, but we were a bunch of good colleagues in the classroom, ARC people, Himanshu's class. It was amazing. I mean, the camaraderie was beautiful.
Nice. And I think it's a reflection of the industry. I mean, at least here in British Columbia and in North America, I know that there's a lot of camaraderie, which makes the craft brewing industry pretty special.
Absolutely.
So how about you, Nishant? What would you say, what did you especially enjoy about the brewing program?
The actual brewing, like the brewing 1, 2, 3, and 4, like being in the brew lab, making beer and finally making your own beer, designing your own recipe, figuring out what we actually want to make, sitting over a couple of beers, and we were like, yes, that's what we want to do. That's what I enjoyed doing.
Oh.
Yeah, Bangalore.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. I know we went through some hoops to get this is the very first year that we actually were able to can and label and sell our student signature beers, which was super exciting, but it was a little bit of a challenge. We learned some things along the way, but it was great to see you guys be able to actually have your product to sell.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any tips, like in terms of students, international students looking to get into the program? I know Mantra was just saying a little bit about getting certifications online, and I know there was a question in the chat too.
Yeah.
So my background basically being engineering, it kind of was a little bit smooth sailing, but a big tip that I could give is make sure whoever is planning to come to this course knows their chemistry. Because I mean, being an engineering student, learning chemistry, I was still like, it was 20 years ago that I learned chemistry. And it took me about a week or so to get back into knowing what chemistry was. So if you want to brush up, that'll be fantastic.
One of the other things that we tell people too is, you know, like I think Amanda, you were saying that different people have different strengths. So some people are going to be better at chemistry and say microbiology, and some might be better in another area. Buddy up, find somebody who's good in your class, who maybe has a previous science degree, and make them your study buddy.
Absolutely, because we all made a group and we made like online chat groups and online quiz. What do you call those? There's something called Quizlets or something, and
Okay.
everybody just contributed to everything. I mean, it's good when you have people from different backgrounds in the same classroom. And I mean, I'm the worst at biology, but some of my pals in the classroom were good at biology, so it was kind of helpful that way. You have to take help from somebody else. You can't give up.
Yeah, nice. So I'm just going to look, Rita and Alessandra, those in the chat here. So
Yeah.
Matt, have you asked what certifications and license can students get while studying? And are there any certifications awarded in this curriculum? What I will say is the certifications you will get, you'll, right off the bat, you have workplace hazardous materials training, as well as serving at right certificate, which are required. You can also do those yourself, but that's part of the course. The other thing is, this is a university level program. And by that, I mean that you actually graduate with university credit. And we have had in the past, for example, students who really were drawn to the business side of it and rolled that 2 years of their diploma towards a business degree. And actually one of those fellows, Jono, is working at Trading Post Brewing near our campus brewery in Langley. But in terms of other certifications, Alec, do you want to, I don't think there's anything else within the program itself.
Yeah, so not really as part of the program. We do, recommend some students. There's always a lot of interest in, different aspects of, for example, sensory beer judging. So, we talk about, for example, the Prud'homme program, or, people who are interested in beer judging, getting their BJCP certification. So that would be mostly it. But as you said, this is a university program, so you do get, at the end of it, you do get the brewing diploma. I would say while you're in the program, again, depending on your background, some students have a little bit more time if they have, science background or engineering background and so on. I would my recommendation would be to just meet as many people as possible in the brewing industry, maybe get a part-time job, and that will probably get to the further in the industry. So, we had some students, as I've mentioned, who did actually become head brewers right after they finished the program. But while they were in the program, they also used to work part-time in other breweries. So they started advancing their career as soon as they actually became students in the program. So if you can do that, I would definitely recommend it.
And there's so much opportunity. We do have a brewing job board where employers reach out and post jobs. The Brewing Career Fair, that's really been built up over the years, and a lot of employers wait for that career fair to come up. They're really looking forward to it and having that opportunity to meet KPU students. I think you guys, like alumni student, would agree that when you have the KPU Brewing Diploma on your resume, there's a lot of respect within the industry for the students that are coming out of the program. They know that they've been well trained. There's a question here I'm taking a look at in the chat. That's a common one that comes up in our info sessions. It's phrased a little differently. Matt was saying, are there any advantages over other careers in terms of remuneration or pay? And one of the things that we always say is that really the salary range in the craft brewing industry can be quite varied. For example, there can be, you know, a small craft brewery where there's just one owner, or maybe there's like a couple of partners and they just want to keep it at one brewery. Then it goes all the way up to bigger breweries like a Red Truck or a Parallel 49. And these are British Columbia breweries based in Vancouver. And they're kind of on the verge of being like a bigger, large scale brewery, but they're still within the craft brewing industry. But again, they're looking at expanding, they're pumping out greater volumes of beer. They may have numerous, like more than one location. So again, when you start looking at what the salary is of a head brewer of a larger brewery like that, or like where Danilo is, like Danilo at Stanley Park, it's actually connected to a national brewing company. There's a big range in the salary of that. So it's kind of knowing what it is that you want to do with your career, what opportunities are there and what your goal is, and doing a little bit of research. Earlier, Alec had mentioned about like how many breweries we have students and grads working at, which there's too many to list on, you know, even a number of slides, and people tend to move around. So I think that's part of the learning process. You know, you might go and work at one brewery and get a sense of like, okay, this is something that I really want to do, and learn more about. Like some breweries will specialize, for example, in certain styles of beer, like Belgian beers, for example. And that is really attractive to some people. The other thing I would say too is there's careers. Most of the students and applicants who come to the program would like to be brewers or open their own brewery one day. And yet there's a lot of other opportunities and careers, and Alec knows about this, like in the brewing sciences and sensory, that I think are still a little bit untapped. And there's a lot of opportunity there to, not only for career, but remuneration.
Yeah, so I think there was a question about sensory analysis, and since I've mentioned it, you know, sensory is, I'd say, a relatively new field, and it's developing really fast. So we are still at the, I would say in Canada at the early stages of it, but if you look at some of the craft breweries in the United States, they're a few years ahead of us. And sensory in itself can be a really rewarding career within the brewing industry, but then you can also apply that knowledge to many other places. So we do have two different courses which are focusing on either sensory analysis or beer judging, which is a part of it. And you know, that can be a full-time job in a brewery, and those are typically well-paid jobs. If you have a passion, and I know that a lot of people laugh when I say this, but if you do have a passion for statistics, as well as, you know, for example, psychology and things like that, and then, you know, also if, you know, like sensory, something that is appealing to you, and you'll have a lot of chance to, you know, go through the training. We actually go through you know, the basic descriptive training, which was, you know, developed actually by Flavor Active, which is one of the biggest companies in the world that are producing, you know, sensory standards. So you know, like, as I said, after you've been exposed to, you know, the sensory environment and all that, some students really do develop the interest for that. And there's a lot of opportunity. As I've said, this is something that is growing really fast in the industry, and you can make that like your career. Also, you know, a lot of people who work in sensory are also working in quality control labs and things like that. So definitely lots of opportunities.
Could I add something to that?
Please.
Just to answer the question, what is the remuneration? I would say don't come into this field if you're looking for money. If it's your passion, then come here. Otherwise, don't, seriously, because it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of physical work. I'm 42. I have a slip disc, but I still go because I'm loving it. Every day my back hurts, but I'm still loving it. I'm serious. I mean, I had
Yeah.
a beautiful business back home. I was making money, but I left it because this is my passion. Don't come here because you want to make money into this field, but come here because you love it and you're gonna make money. Trust me on that one.
And I think, you know, just to add on that, like, I think a lot of people who come into the brewing program, not all, but a good chunk of them are people who've had previous careers and they're following a passion. Like, they've made a decision that they want to do something with their life that they feel, you know, will bring them joy and purpose in terms of a career. So there's Rita and Ale, are you okay if I ask this question that somebody added to the chat, Eric, about, he'd like to know, alumni, what's your favorite beer, craft beer in BC right now?
I'm curious to know too. Please say KPU.
Oh, go ahead, guys.
I would say it's mine, Stanley Park Brewing here. But yeah, there's a few other, like, there's a few breweries who makes like excellent beers. I guess BC, it's known by its craft beer industry, and it's good to be here. Then you can learn how to make a great beer, and then of course, like everywhere else in the world, we'll look up to you and like, try to understand how are we making such a good beers. And like, it's a really small industry here in BC of the craft brewery. There's a lot of opportunities, but like the network is small, and everybody's connected to the KPU. So if you do really well, or in your course, or in your like later in your job, you will be noticed by others, and like more opportunities will come up. So it's a great way to get into this network.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think too, just within the faculty, that's one thing that alumni have shared with me is that, and I know just even from talking to our faculty, how excited they are. Like they really do keep tabs on you guys, whether you know it or not, and are super proud and excited and will sing your praises. So they kind of network on your behalf too. And I can see Nishant smiling, but you know, pre-COVID, when we had beer festivals, our faculty and instructors were out and they were seeking out all of where the students and the grads were because they want to see everybody and they want to talk to you. And so there's a lot of support. Yeah.
Just to answer the question about the best beer, it's always the one in your hand.
That you already had.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you have quite the collection of bottles on the top of your fridge, Nishant.
Everywhere I go.
Oh,
We have one more question here.
yes. So the slide.
Yeah, go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, so that's a really great question, Matt. Most of the scholarships in the brewing program are for second year or first year students going into their second year. So typically they would apply around this time of the year for just the brewing specific awards. Those would get awarded over the summertime, and then the funds would be transferred to the students after they've registered or started their first term, their first semester. So typically those awards will go for 1 year, your second year. And there's also a lot of general awards, like Alec had mentioned earlier. These are just for the brewing students, but a lot of KPU general awards that are open to domestic and international students. So Himanshu, what's your favorite BC craft beer right now?
I'm drinking a lot of sours nowadays because we are brewing a lot of sours at our brewery at Dead Frog. But you guys might have heard about House of Funk.
Yes.
They are very renowned for their funky and sour beers. So that's what I like most about them. And the second one is Dagrad, which are popular for their Belgian beers. Yeah. So one thing I want to add is like KPU is kind of the center part of everything right now. because this industry is like, it's been socialized in a very good way. Everyone is in competition, but that's in a good competition. Nobody is jealous of anyone. If any brewery is going to other brewery, or any brewer is meeting other brewer, they talk like friendly. Okay, I'm brewing this thing, and people suggest them.
Labs.
Brewers
Yeah.
suggest them like, okay, I've been doing this thing, and this, like, by this way you can do this, and you can have more efficiency and all those things. So that's the best part I like about this industry here.
Yeah.
And you can, it's like, I don't know many people in the industry, but I've tried it so many times. Even if I don't know them, I just go them, like I have done this in beer fest and job fairs. If I go to them and greet them and just start talking to them, they open up a lot. It's not like, okay, they welcome you with very good way. So that's the best part of the industry here, and KPU is doing a really great job for that. Any brewery looking for a vacancy or any job, they always look to KPU right away. So
Yeah.
that's the best part, and always drinking beer, so many good beers. Yeah.
Great answer.
And one more thing I would like to add is about the pay thing. It's not like, I'm not discriminating, but Nishant would know, like, for us Indians, money is, for most of us, money is the thing, right? But I would say I'm looking for that satisfaction after doing my work at the end of the day,
I get
that
it.
I can sit and have that good, like, 2 or 3 pints of beer.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get drunk every night. That's one thing. So that's the part here. Right now, lives are so fast and so paced. Satisfaction is a need right now, and your, I would say, peace of mind. That's the thing, and I'm getting that here,
Absolutely.
working in this
Beautiful.
industry. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just talking about that yesterday with another friend of mine who's in brewery, Brendan. And we
Yeah.
were like, I'm loving it. I come home tired, but I'm satisfied when I come home. That's the best part.
Yeah.
So I don't care what they're paying me, but I'm coming home satisfied with a 6-pack, and I'm ready to drink a little bit and go back to sleep, wake up and go back and make some more beer.
Yeah.
Right on. And how about you,
Amazing.
Nishant? What would you say is your favorite BC craft beer right now?
I think I love the Farm Country Pilsner.
Nice.
The best. It's the way Pilsner needs to be.
Well, you and Alec are birds of a feather, because I think Alec loves a good Pilsner too.
I haven't had such a good Pilsner in a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Pilsners are one of my favorite styles, and I've been drinking them before coming to Canada, of course, in Europe. Then, like 2 years ago, I spent again another week in Czech Republic, and fell in love with Pilsners once more. So yeah, always enjoy a good Pilsner.
Nice.
Also, adding to Himanshu's what Himanshu said, it's a very inclusive brewing community. So it's, you just have to be nice. Be nice. Don't get rude,
Yeah.
because everybody knows everyone, and the word goes around.
Yeah, thank you. And I know we're over time.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want me to
We
say a
have
little bit
one.
about that last question?
Yes, please. It's
Okay.
a question for Himanshu, right?
Yeah, and I was actually just going to add to that. So
Yeah.
the question was for Himanshu, and it was like, because you had no related field experience and you did some online certifications. And I was just going to say that I think what you were pointing to, Himanshu, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's lots of different things that you could be doing, and that could even be reading a book. Getting into the program itself, you don't require any type of certification, but it just helps improve your own knowledge. And like Alec was saying, it could be like a beer tasting, like a Prud'homme or a Cicerone, and just start with the entry level of it. Or, picking up a good book, a classic book where you're learning about either recipe development or brewing, that will only help improve, just kind of like your overall knowledge, and you'll feel a little more confident as well.
Yeah, I can, I've also add that, people who have the opportunity, they can start experimenting with home brewing. That's always good. We had, applicants who, with their application, brought a couple of beers that they brewed at home. And also, if you have the opportunity to simply go to different breweries, or maybe get a part-time job, or not even a job, maybe just volunteer for a day or two or a week, just to get the feel of what this really is. I mean, all these things help.
Yeah.
Can
Awesome.
I add one thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I was just suggesting to just go through and look your what resources you can find to get into the course. So, like Alex suggested, go to breweries and volunteer at the breweries. So what I did was, like, while being in the course, I was doing part-time. So I was going to the breweries for shadow brewing, kind of volunteer thing. So that helped me a lot too, to get the like job position at that frog right after the course, where I was at, like, I started as assistant brewer. So yeah, I'm just suggesting, don't just take me like I'm right behind the online certifications. That's nothing, I would say. That's just for the start, just basic.
Mhm.
You just gonna learn, okay, this is that, that's it. But you're gonna study more and learn more in the course, because it's totally about the brewing and brewing operations. It's not like different aspects of like this and this. Everything is about brewing and brewing operations: physics, chemistry, mathematics, business, everything. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Himanshu. It's 9:09 now. So for all the attendees, if you have any more questions, just feel free to call us or email us at international@kpu.ca. And thank you to all of you, everyone. I really enjoyed tonight, and I learned it a lot myself. And it's just like listening to all of you talking with each other, just like seeing you old friends chatting. It's really relaxing and also very insightful. I enjoyed it myself very much. Yeah. All right. So I will call it a meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and a good day for people in the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Hey,
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.